Have I said segue too much?
Oh, segue has just been a big word today, so
All right. Well, we're very excited.
I'm gonna use the word pivot to mix it up.
I like that too, How about swapperoo?
Okay, we're doing a little swapperoo to our first segment of Simply Simple. This is episode 5, and we are now having segments. It's been a huge development
Yes.
in the podcast.
Maybe there's 2 of you that listen to the podcast the whole way. Shout out to Mim. But we're going to be doing we're going to spruce it up a little bit, Drew, and talk a little bit about, maybe not talk, we're going to be categorizing some public transport do's and don'ts. I'm going to read it out to you, and you're going to...
Can you talk about what inspired this segment?
Every day when I'm on the train, only the weekdays, you won't see me on a train on the weekends.
It's not very environmental of you.
It's not environmental. It's because I'm walking. Are you assuming I'm driving?
I am, and I think the listeners are too.
Oh, listeners, I walk. I have my running shoes on in the magical location that we are at now. So, what inspired me is just the conversations I have with a lot of my friends around public transport, a lot of conversations I have with Drew. These aren't conversations.
is a fun way of saying
I
it.
was thinking the exact same thing. Venting.
It's a very one-sided conversation. Really.
Absolutely. And honestly, just being on public transport, you run into a lot of doo-doos. So, and what do
you mean by doo-doo?
Just discourtesy or discourteous people, and just really strange, weird, obnoxious behavior. So, Drew, let's without further ado, I'm going to read out a list, and you're going to bucket them into forgivable or straight to jail. Now, it's a bit extreme, but...
Okay, well, you have to also comment on this, I assume.
Sure, no worries. I have a lot of comments around these. The first one, Drew, is eating warm food on the train, like sushi, hot noodles, pie, where the stench is really known throughout the carriage.
Yeah, look, I think that is forgivable.
Actually?
Yeah, I think...
Hell no.
I think I'm just more open and more accepting and forgiving. But I think some people are very hungry.
I have to say, if you're eating sushi or in my experience, I've smelt people eat hot noodles. I understand you're hungry, but surely, I don't know what's worse, eating that with the stench going through the carriage, or you eating like a packet of chips and you're crunching the chips behind my ear. There's no in between, is there?
So you think it's straight to jail for eating warm food on the train?
I think we should stick to muesli bars.
But you don't like people crunching chips either.
Muesli bars aren't crunchy though.
They are very crunchy.
What muesli bars are you eating?
Well, they are crunchy.
I'm talking about the Uncle Toby's ones. They're nice and soft and oaty. Anyway, so that's forgivable in your books?
I would say so, because some people, like I said, could be having a rough day and there's no other time to eat.
If you're you know what, the exception is if you're a person who was fasting, or if you work in the medical industry.
Now we're doing exceptions. Yeah, you have to choose one bucket.
Straight to jail. All right, second one, Drew. Putting your foot on the seat.
Yeah, look, this is a straight to jail for me.
Absolutely.
I think there's enough places to put your feet. You can't. It's not just. Yeah, the seat is unacceptable.
You have the whole floor of the carriage.
Exactly, and some places even have like footrests. I think.
Yeah, that's right.
I haven't been in a train in a while, but I think
you haven't. I guess the more newer trains don't really have a footrest, but the
metro
trains...
you can kind of send your feet out a bit. I don't know. I don't think you need to.
Yeah, straight to jail on that one. Using headphones.
Not using headphones?
Oh, yes, that's right. Did I not? Okay, well, not using headphones is what I was meant to say. Oh, well, actually, I have two. One is not using headphones, and the second is using headphones and you can hear the music pumping from someone's headphones. It's 7:30 on the train, you're making your way to work, and the last thing you want to hear is a bit of Britney Spears.
Oh, that's like the first thing I want to hear, like work,
That's true. It could be a bit motivating.
Yeah, good inspiring, you want that Maserati and all. I mean, I don't know. I thought that's quite cool.
All right, not using headphones, I think, is straight to jail. If you're having conversations or listening to music loudly, I am absolutely disgusted. Straight to jail.
Okay, I mean, I agree. I think you have to use it.
How about headphones with music blasting?
Sometimes it's a lack of self-awareness.
Mm.
I don't think it's intentional. I think that is forgivable.
Actually, that's true because a lot of people don't know that they're. It depends also on your headphones. I know the AirPods, you can really hear the music sometimes. But anyways, but please listen to it at a moderate volume because my ears hurt for you people.
Yeah, I think for ear health, just watch out.
Yes. Now, the next is giving your seat up for the elderly or a pregnant woman. And we're going to assume it's a packed train or metro, whatever you're on.
You know what? I want to say straight to jail, but I think it's forgivable. You never know what that person's going through.
Well,
And
the pregnant woman's growing a full-on human.
yeah, but you know, are we going to value people more in society just because of physical traits? I don't know. I mean, look, I don't like it. I'm going to be a bit controversial, but I think it's forgivable. I'm not saying it's right, but I don't think it's a straight to jail. I think there are reasonable excuses around it,
Mm.
and therefore I will say that it is a forgivable offense because that person could have, had a really tough day. They could be really tired, really exhausted, and I think it might be a bit unfair in
All right, it's
situations.
Drew's way of being nice and working around the not straight to jail, but not forgivable either. Good
Well, I
word.
think it's more forgivable than straight to jail.
Yeah, it's quite severe.
I assume this is a straight to jail for you.
No.
Okay.
Wait, giving a seat up?
Yeah.
I've done that before. I'd say it's forgivable.
But straight to jail if you don't do it?
Oh yeah, straight to jail if you don't do
Okay,
it.
yeah.
But this is coming from the perspective of actually giving up your seat. Now, Drew, we're going to do a bit of a spitfire, so
Okay.
get ready. Okay. First is covering your mouth when wet, coughing specifically, or sneezing.
Also, alternative, you don't cover your mouth.
Oh, sorry, yes, don't cover your mouth. Wow, what the hell
that
went
is
into me?
that is straight to jail.
Oh, disgusting. How about when someone coughs or sneezes? Especially when you're sitting in front of them and the germs ricochet from the window.
Ricochet.
I added that to the list. Ricochet.
I mean, I think that's forgivable. We all sneeze or cough. Doesn't mean we should all be sent to prison.
If you're not covering your mouth or nose, that's the issue. How about moving down the carriage when there's not enough seats and you have to stand?
I don't see any issue with that. What's wrong with that?
Sometimes, like, people start, banking up in the waiting platform. And, if you're one of those people who unfortunately caught a peak train and you're in the waiting platform, but people aren't getting the memo to keep moving down so there's more space. Like, guys,
You mean not moving down the carriage?
not moving down the carriage.
Yeah, I think that's forgivable. Some people are gonna not care enough, so that's fine.
Easy. How about this one? Because this happens to me very often, especially when you're on a three-seater, which is fine, but I find that this is straight to jail. Someone who doesn't say, "Excuse me," but stands next to you for you to get up so they can take the seat next to you. So it's kind of like mind games.
Look, if someone doesn't say excuse me, then there's nothing for you to do. It's like
Is that
Australian
straight to jail then?
Australian rules, yeah, like straight to jail.
All right. How about taking up more than one seat with a bag?
It is only forgivable if there is no one else going to come onto the train or public transport.
That's true. In the first few stops of my journey, I usually put my bag, but once I hit, Parramatta, I'm like, ooh, all right. All right, Drew, how about making eye contact, especially when people make eye contact and they're sitting on the seat that's right under the train screen and they're sitting, right opposite of you.
I think eye contact is forgivable. I think if throwback to episode 1, but we talked about, dating. Why maybe eye contact can be a spark?
I think you can make eye contact, but just don't stare because that's really weird. We talked. I'm going to move to the next one. Actually, speaking loudly on the phone. This is straight to jail.
It has to be straight to jail. Sorry.
All right. How about this? I experienced this for not the first time, but in a while actually. Having loud conversations with friends, but when you're seated in like a different area of the train, like you're not sitting together with your friends, like you've got one friend who's sitting on like a two-seater, another friend sitting across, and you're having kind of like a over the carriage conversation. That's straight to jail for me.
Yeah, like come on, sit closer, stand closer. You can't yell across the train.
If it's peak hour and there's not enough seats to sit closer, just don't speak at all, just text. And second Dhruv is typing
Lastly,
oh, yeah, true, because I skipped one. Last is typing furiously on the train. Sometimes I don't understand what kind of memo people are spitfiring out, but sometimes I think the keyboard may go up in flames, or I might just lose my mind hearing that at 7:30 on the train.
I think it is forgivable if you're working on the train.
Make use of it.
Something might be urgent, so it might necessitate typing fast. So I think the key takeaways is don't catch the train with Fauzia. You're gonna annoy her no matter what.
You know what? To an extent, yes. I like your way, but there are just a lot of annoying things to kind of pick up on. Anyways, this segment has increased beyond 5 minutes.
This segment is sponsored by insert sponsor here.
We need sponsors.
We don't need it. I'm putting a placeholder.